What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you. Back on Fantasy Pros with a 10-team full PPR mock where we will be drafting second overall our roster, one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. But that's pretty much it. So let's kick it off. And while we wait, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter, X at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comments. Questions, thoughts, we will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's kick it off. As I mentioned before, we are drafting second overall in a 10-team full PPR mock. The first pick is in. As you can see here to the right, it was Jamar Chase. So, look, I'm in a situation here where I'm going to follow my big board. I'm going to go my best overall player. And it's between one of these guys, Bijan, Saquon. Again, you can make a case for Jahmyr Gibbs. I think you can even make a case for, A-Chain, Genty, wide receiver. Look, I do like Justin Jefferson. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I do like somebody like a Malik Neighbors. But let's see what happens here. Let's see if we go running back heavy to begin with in a 10-team mock, how that pans out. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that, again, we haven't done too many of these mocks in general or too many 10-teamers. I think if you're picking early on this year, the way this thing is slotted out, I think it might be a little bit smarter to go wide receiver early. If you're in a 10-team and have like one of the first 2, 3, 4 picks, just because I feel like the running back pool is so deep. But maybe I will be proven wrong here. But I'll take Bijan Robinson because I think that there will be more solid level running backs that drop to the second round than there might be, wide receivers. And look, to some extent, that is the case because after we went Bijan, it was Jefferson, it was CeeDee Lamb, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley. I mean, no shockers there. Amon-Ra, Puka, A-Chain, Genty, okay. I have no issues so far. When you're a rookie running back with that type of draft capital, that makes sense. Malik Neighbors a 2-1, great value. A.J. Brown, Drake London, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas. I'm not worried about Travis Hunter being there. McCaffrey, bit of a risky pick, but still okay. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Lad McConkey. So now looking at the cheat sheet, this is what I was worried about. There's, in my opinion, no true number one wide receiver left at this point in time, but there are, I would argue, multiple RB1s still here. There's still a, Derrick Henry. There's still a Chase Brown. There's still a Josh Jacobs. There's still a Jonathan Taylor. So that was the point that I was trying to make. But look, we made our bed. Let's lie in it. I would probably here go with somebody like, another top end running back, and then maybe we punt on the wide receiver position. Maybe we go with a Brock Bowers or Trey McBride, because I do think the positional advantage at tight end is more important at the smaller league sizes. Same goes for quarterback here. So a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson, but let's go with a guy that I personally like. I'm going to go here with Chase Brown, get my number 2 running back. I already have Bijan. Chase Brown didn't really add too much competition there. Brock Bowers was drafted, so that allows me to take Trey McBride here. I knew I'd get one of the two guys just because where I was with the turn and the draft itself. So now going back to the draft board, guys that have been selected, right? So it is Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, makes sense. Those are guys that I was pointing out before. Tyreek, Bucky Irving, Josh Allen, Kyron Williams, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson at the end of the third, really good value. Lamar, Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, James Cook, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Joe Mixon, and Jaden Daniels. Honestly, part of me was hoping that McDaniels might be there. Daniels might be there, so I could scoop him up and see what really happens in a 10-teamer. If we go those premier tight end and quarterback positions early, I can still do it, honestly, though. I could go a Jalen Hurts. I could go a Joe Burrow. Maybe I go with Terry McLaurin first, even though Deebo Samuel is there. Rashee Rice, he's somebody that, depending on what happens with the injury, I think that he could be a good value. Let's go with Terry McLaurin here, and then we're going to go with whoever is left out of those quarterbacks that I mentioned. So it was the likes of, actually, both are still going to be there. So Chuba, DJ Moore were the picks after us. So, I like that Chuba pick, but I already was feeling good about running backs. I needed to address the wide receiver position. Let's, no, I'm going to test it out. I'll go Jalen Hurts here, even though I don't have a stack to go with him. Maybe I can get a Devonta Smith later on. Joe Burrow with Chase Brown, really, really tempting. I'll go with Jalen Hurts for the rushing upside. And then let's see what we are left working with in the next couple of rounds. I did pass up on some talent that, I was high on. That's what happens when you go with these premier positions, So I passed up on somebody like a Marvin Harrison, who I think would have been a really, really nice fit, but I've picked him a lot in these recent mocks. So I figured let's go a different direction. You guys are probably sick and tired of me going his way. But other names here. So George Kittle, the rest of the tight ends: Kittle, Hawk, Zay Flowers, Marvin Harrison, Kenneth Walker, Rashee Rice. I think get 508, good value. Joe Burrow, 509, good value. Laporta, Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith, Kelsey. I think Kelsey right now, it's just, it's not like he's a premier pick, but I'm not going to get trapped in the name appeal of it all. DK, Mahomes, Evan Ingram, Xavier Worthy, and Chris Olave. So we weren't able to get Devonta Smith. Let's see what we're working with here at wide receiver. Godwin coming off a major injury after the Bucs added wide receiver talent in the first round. Jalen Waddle. It's tough to trust there. As bad as Tyreek was last year, he was still the number one guy. Jerry Jeudy, solid potential pick. You got a breakout year last year, but again, can you trust him? RJ Harvey is a guy that I've really been liking recently, but can we wait another round? Out of these guys, maybe I go with a Godwin. I feel like he's undervalued every single year, but in full PPR, he just continues to deliver. Maybe the rookie development there is going to take some time, and the Bucs are just going to continue to air out the football. So maybe we do go with Godwin, and then we go with the Jeudy. We need another wide receiver for sure. So let's go with Chris Godwin. Tedero McMillan and Baker Mayfield. So, I like Tedero McMillan. I think he's in the best spot probably out of all the rookie wide receiver, the big name rookie wide receivers. Let me preface it that way. But I just think there's too many other guys there. We're talking different fantasy versus real life. Like for fantasy purposes, even though I like the landing spot for McMillan, I think it's going to help out Bryce Young. I think it's going to help out that offense. There's too many names there. I'm really curious to see what the Panthers are going to do, but they've got a lot of potential producers at that wide receiver position. Thielen, Coker last year, who kind of came on, right? Leggett, who has high draft capital associated with him. So it's intriguing. Now looking at the squad here, we still need another flex. I mentioned it before, Jerry Jeudy. RJ Harvey, really, really tempting, getting one of these rookie rushers, but maybe Judkins can be a pick later on. James Conner, I've already got McBride, so I don't want to overdo it there with the Cardinals. I'll probably go with Jeudy here. Let's see how that pans out, So let's go with Jeudy. James Conner, Murray, Fields, and now they're running on the running backs are going to start. There goes Harvey, man. We just missed out on him again. So yeah, we went with Jeudy. Then it was James Conner, Kyler Murray, Justin Fields, Jalen Waddle, Jordan Addison, Jordan Love, Pacheco, Caleb Johnson. Pacheco's a really interesting guy, but Kareem Hunt's still there. I know he's another year older, but I can't ignore what happened with Pacheco last year after he came back from his injury. Now, maybe he wasn't 100% sure. I get that. But not as quite of a good situation as it was at the start of last year as it is this year. Hampton, Hunter, Aaron Jones, Jameson Williams, Calvin Ridley. There's my guy, Harvey, Monty, DeAndre Swift. So here, just start filling out the bench with the best available players. I think Judkins is one of those guys that I like, high upside rookie rusher in Cleveland. He's got the opportunities. I need some more running back depth. I think at this point in time, he's probably the main guy. Like if Tony Pollard's there afterwards, probably look his way. Odunze is interesting. Some of these other guys here still have some potential. I will go with Judkins. So let's add him. If Tony Pollard isn't selected, I might go his way. No, he was selected. So there goes Pollard. So now, I like Tyrone Tracy. I do. I think he's going to get the nod over Scatterboo for the New York Giants, even though Scatterboo was a very, very solid producer. So probably go Tyrone Tracy here if I wanted another rusher. Brian Robinson, also something to think about. But Austin Eckler is there. Wide receivers, whatever we're looking at here. Pickens, Odunze. I probably lean Odunze. You know what? Let's go with let's go with Odunze. I could see a situation where, Jerry Jeudy kind of struggles and doesn't have the same type of year that he did last year. Oh, wow. So it was a huge run on rushers here. Probably should have gone rusher and then wide receiver because Pickens is still on the board. Juwan Jennings, Jacoby Myers. Okay. I'm going to scroll down here so you guys can see just pretty much all running backs. Tyrone Tracy was a pick shortly after our selection of Odunze. Then afterwards, Ayuk, Andrews, John Smith, Scatterboo. Okay, not too far away from Tyrone Tracy. Interesting. And Njoku, Brian Robinson. Don't think that should be the case, by the way. I think he's more of a handcuff than anything. Charbonnet, Bigsby, Rashad White. I think Rashad White, out of all these guys, you could argue has the best value in full PPR. Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Khalil Shakir. So now, George Pickens is still there. Like, he's the number 2 in Dallas. He's not obviously going to get as many targets as CeeDee Lamb, but he could still be a solid number 2. Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers is there. You could argue he's the number 2 behind him. Juwan Jennings has the potential to be number 1, but I've been saying I think Brandon Ayuk will get that nod. I don't love any of these rushers. I think probably Eckler has the highest upside at this point in time. Just again, talking about pure PPR upside. Let's go with, I'm probably going to go with George Pickens here. The talent is there unquestionably. Jacoby Myers was selected, so here the choice becomes a lot easier. I'm going to go with Juwan Jennings for the upside. Yeah, let's go with it. The top suggestion, Mason here for the Vikings. But I think it's a situation where, again, I don't have Aaron Jones, so getting the handcuff doesn't really do all that much for me. So let's go with another wide receiver. I'm going to go with Juwan Jennings, somebody that I like. Is there a chance he's there for me the next round? I don't think so. I'm going to go with Juwan Jennings. Yeah, Eckler was picked shortly thereafter. I knew he'd be a hot name, especially with full PPR scoring. Running back, I don't think there's going to be really anything all that much left. Like Jerome Ford, I guess I could get him and feel okay because, I've got Judkins and get that backfield kind of just taken care of in case one doesn't pan out. I've got the other. And, Cleveland, regardless of who the quarterback is going to want to run the football. So I don't need to go tight end. I don't need to go quarterback. That's the nice thing about getting those guys early, even though it puts you behind the 8 ball with some other positions. As you can see what happened with our wide receivers. That's why we had to go wide receiver heavy on our bench. No true alpha number 1 guy here that we'll just set and forget is going to get you close to 20 points every single week. So again, that's why we went with the Odunze's, the Pickens, the Juwan Jennings later on. Yeah, I'm probably going to go with Jerome Ford here. I'm curious to see the draft grade we'll get. We went premier positions on Hurts and tight end. So we get an A-. I got to be honest with you, I don't quite feel that highly on it. Yes, we got, I would say a top 5 quarterback, top 2 tight end. We got some running backs that I really like in Bijan and Chase Brown, but afterwards the depth really does take a beating. And wide receiver, I feel like we just got a bunch of high-end wide receiver 2s, so that might be a little bit tough. I'd probably go a B- instead of an A-, but hey, you know what? Maybe the positional advantages of quarterback and tight end in these top-heavy leagues, 10-teamers will go a long way. Let me know your thoughts. Agree, disagree. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Again, give us a follow on Twitter X at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.